Well, hello, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? It's Wednesday again, and it's time for our regular program. Same things, different days. And you know what I'm talking about. As long as you have the PPP there, then you're always going to have same things, different days, them happening on different days. Well, you know what? Today we want to say happy birthday to quite a few persons. I'm not going to call their names because I'm going to get myself into problems. But we want to say happy birthdays to some of those persons who would have celebrated their birthdays yesterday and some persons who are celebrating their birthdays today. I know we have Auntie P. She's 103 years old. My gosh, lots and lots of years you're talking about there. Happy birthday to you, Auntie P. And we trust that God is going to continue blessing you and lengthening your life, giving you, granting you health and strength. And we have, I said I'm not going to call names, but I have to call this one. We have a former teacher, Mr. Raw Lane, who is celebrating his birthday as well today. Raw, happy birthday to you. And we pray that God will continue to bless you and keep you and grant you strength so that you too would have a long life filled with happiness. Happy birthday to all those who are celebrating birthday. Let me say that. And may God continue to bless you. Of course, I want to send out shout outs to our teachers who are in school at this time, those who are preparing their pupils for the final lap before the grade 6 examinations, and to our teachers who are preparing our grade 11 students for the final lap before they start writing the CSEC exams. We want to pray that God will bring back to their remembrance what they would have learned earlier during the years at school so that they can be successful at the exams. Of course, we need to do a little tapping up there and patting and so on and reminding them that one, you need not be nervous. Just it's just like if you're in class and you're writing a test. So don't be nervous. We want you to do well. We want to be proud, feel extremely proud, and so go there and do your best. And to our teachers who would have worked so hard with our students and our pupils, we want to thank you so much. We can't continue to, we can't pay you as a matter of fact. And there's no amount of thank you that we can say to those teachers for doing what they've been doing over the years. Of course, with the meager salaries that they're receiving, of course, with the conditions under which they have to work many days, and of course, with some of those rowdy officers that they have to deal with from time to time, and the amount of work and pressure that they're putting on you without even offering you an incentive for what you do every day and all the days. And yes, of course, we have to thank our parents who have been working with our children over the years, ensuring that they get to school, ensuring that they have their workbooks and their pencils and their pens and everything else that you've been doing to prepare our children for the exams that is approaching very soon. Of course, the CSEC would have started, some of the subject areas would have started. So we are waiting for the bulk of it to start pretty soon. So congratulations to those who celebrated birthday, and a thank you to our parents and to our teachers who have been working so hard with our children. But we're going to get into today. Today is just like any other day, but it's a little different where we would have had lots of rain starting, I think sometime after 1 this morning. And I'm seeing they're advising us that with this rain, we are going to have some flooding. Flooding. And it doesn't take much for us to have flooding in this country simply because we have a government that is incompetent, a government who has no vision, a government who feels that they can fool people with all the road expansions that they're doing, covering up the canals. And so as soon as a little rainfall, you know what happens? All over is flooded. And then guess what they do? Especially in the city of Georgetown, guess what they do? They blame the mayor and city council. But the mayor and city council is not responsible for the flooding that we're having. The government, the PPP is responsible for that because, like I said earlier, they blame it on expansion of roads and creating more roads, and they're filling up all the canals. Those canals were placed there for a specific purpose So when you fill the canals to do road expansion, where you expect the water to go, the water must settle on the land. So that is what is going to happen, and we have to be mindful because we are stepping into our May June period, which is a period of plenty rainfall. So we're going to see much more of it, and of course, yes, we're going to have our girl out there, Priya Manik Chand, the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development. We're going to have her there, blah, 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 blabbering all again, all over the place again, talking about it's the mayor and city council. Man, you know the story. And then she's going to come decked out in her coat and her long boots. And so while many Guyanese citizens have to be trotting in that water, the dirty water, and Anil will come with his long boots walking, leaving the dry road and walking on some water by the pave there and so on. And all of them you will see out there parading themselves. But they don't want to resolve the issues that we're having. They don't want to resolve the issues because Priya Manik Chand, for one, if she wanted to have these issues resolved, then the first thing she would go out there to do is to say to all of those big businessmen, pay up your rates and taxes. Pay up your rates and taxes. I remember a couple of years ago, there was an issue with the National Security Advisor, Jerry Gavaya, who the courts said to him you had to pay, I think it was 380 million or something like that, but it was 300 and over $1 million that he had owed in rates and taxes. And guess what? By the time the coalition got out of office, that went to zero. I'm absolutely sure nothing was paid. Well, don't let me say I'm absolutely sure. Let me say I don't think any monies were paid to the city council. And so when you have these persons who got all these huge sums of monies, as a matter of fact, I should say to you, the city council's budget was $51 billion or five. It was somewhere around the billions for the city hall's budget. But you know what? The government the city hall is owed $150 billion in rates and taxes. $150 billion they're owed in rates and taxes. So now, viewers, you would understand if those monies were paid to the city council, then the city council would have one, enough equipment, two, they'll have enough staff, and the three, citizens in Georgetown would have been happier if those monies were paid. So let me use this forum to encourage all of us to go out there and pay up our rates and taxes. Don't bother with the government. Let's pay up our rates and taxes because you know what their aim is? And they're moving very slowly at it. First, they've taken over 32 streets. Schools are in my thoughts. 32 streets. Then they went for another set of streets, another 24 sets of streets. And if you look at the streets that they have decided to take over, are the streets that can help the city council to accumulate some funding. They've taken those streets over. So how do you expect the city hall to function and function effectively if you take away the streets? And they've taken away those streets under the pretext that, oh, city hall not maintaining the streets. How would they maintain the streets, Priya? You tell me. How are they going to maintain the streets? They can pull hairs from somewhere. They can pull leaves from somewhere. They can pick up grass from somewhere to maintain those streets. You have to get finances to maintain the streets. And if you're not getting finances, then what you expect to happen? So again, I want to say to you, don't fall for the traps. Don't fall for the PPP and their foolishness. Their aim, like the president said just the other day, Irfan Ali said it just the other day when he went to declare open. And you notice all these roads, expansions and so on, every road they're going to declare open. But they're not going to show you the roads 3 months after. They're not going to show you the roads 6 months after. So it's a whole lot of cock and bull story they're doing. All kind of incompetent contractors they're hiring to do these roads. And 3 months after, you're seeing huge holes, break away, all kinds of things. Well, I'm going to be monitoring the Aubrey Barker Road. So when he went there, he said to them, oh, people want to say that taking over the streets is politics. It's not politics. But of course, it is their desire to have a PPP controlled city council. So if you have in a PPP controlled city council, it means nobody will have a say. We can't talk anymore. We'll have more garbage piled up in our yards, in front of our yards. Don't talk about what happens in the schools, especially in Georgetown. You pass now by Brigham Secondary School, you'll see what is happening. Pass by St. Margaret's. You pass along Wilford Avenue, you'll see what I'm talking about. So when they take over this city, man, you know what is going to happen. But I know it has started raining, and we want to see what they are going to do. The government is supposed to be helping, but the government don't want to help. What the government want to do, like they would normally do, stifle any organization that is anti-PPP. That's what they do all the time. Any organization that is anti-PPP, they look to stifle you. And then they go out there and make all kinds of criticisms about you as if you don't know what you're about, which in fact, it is the government, this same regime, this same government that continue to rig elections, this very government are the ones who continue to stifle organizations as long as you're anti-government. And so we would want to make aware all our citizens in Georgetown, our citizens in Linden, our citizens in New Amsterdam, because those are some of the citizens who are suffering. Because you know what? In those three areas, New Amsterdam City Council, the City Council in Georgetown, and the one in Linden, where you have their control. They have the majority of APNU members who make up that entity. And so they're stifling those entities. They're stifling the people there. Mark me. If you allow the PPP to continue to fool you, cat will eat your dinner. So get on the ball, get wise, wake up, stay focused. When they come, yes, take their monies when they come, but know what you're about. And I've been saying it over and over. Georgetown in particular, if you allow the PPP government, the PPPC government to take over Georgetown, many of you will be bawling. Many of you will be shouting. Many of you will have nowhere to live, because if you owe rates and taxes, they will take your properties away. So mark my word, don't allow the fooling to continue. Don't allow them to come and cast shadows in front of your face, because a leopard never loses his spot. A snake will always be a snake. And that's who the PPP would have been to this country. Snakes. And, I read just the other day where they were saying, snakes don't hiss any longer. Snakes are saying, hi, hello, you look beautiful. We love you. We're putting you first. Watch out for them. Watch out for them. And then we go to the next issue. Same things, different days. What is happening to Parliament? And could somebody tap the speaker of the House? Could somebody ask him, why is it that we're not having any sittings of Parliament? Could somebody say to the speaker, Honorable Manzoor Nadir, you need to call up the government, call up the minister with responsibility for governance, and remind her that in the absence of the sitting of the National Assembly, the people of Guyana are disenfranchised. The people of Guyana are left alone. They can't, nothing can happen for them. Nothing much could happen for them. But what we know for sure will happen is that all the jiggery-pokery will continue. Corruption will be at its highest. Mind you, that's a word we can't use in Parliament. Corruption will be at its highest because there's nobody there to look over what is happening, nobody to keep an eye on them, nobody to keep tapping to ensure that they do what they're supposed to do. But I can tell you what, imagine when you have persons there tapping in and keeping an eye. They do all this skullduggery. When you don't have anyone there, what do you think will happen? More skullduggery. And so the committees in Parliament cannot function because we're not having sittings of Parliament. They're not doing anything so that we can have those committees resuscitated, so that the members there can keep an eye and tap into what is happening at Ministry of Human Services, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of all labor, and everywhere else. We're not seeing what we can't do anything because there's no sitting of parliament. Mansour Nadir, your name calling. You can't want to go and sit at forums internationally where they discuss parliament and you are not having parliament in your own country. You're just making yourself a fool. That's all you're doing. Making yourself a fool. You can pretend to us. As a matter of fact, you can go out there and pretend to the people there, but you can't pretend to us. You go out there and you give glorious reports and nothing is happening home. Come on, man. We're tired of the same things on different days. We're tired of it. Fix the business and let's get on with it. But you know what? While we're talking about Mansour Nadir there, yesterday we had the case with the Mohammeds and so on at the CCJ. Man, look, I had a good laugh. I had a very, very good laugh because my friend vexatious and this such and that such and all the suches that he is be using, all them words that he is fine to use. Yesterday, one of the judges at the CCJ put him to his place yesterday. I don't think we have the recording. I would have been happy for us to play that recording, but I'm sure many of you followed what was happening there because we were all waiting there, in front of your televisions, in front of your computer, because we want to know what the verdict is going to be. But we know what the verdict will be anyhow. But yesterday, Anil, you like to talk. Anil, you must stop talking. It's the same talking. You go and talk stupidness about coffee and all kind of madness, and you have to apologize. Stop talking too much, Anil. You talk too much. Stay home and teach class, man. Don't go there to make yourself and embarrass us. You talk too much, Anil. Where is the vice president, though? I've not seen him in a long time. What happened? No longer having press conference? We no longer having press conference, or I wonder if his earphone tell him that he must stop talking now. But VP, tell Anil stop talking. Do less talking. Do less talking. Stop making yourself a fool. So we are anxiously awaiting the outcome of that case at the CCJ, and we will know what will happen with WIN. And since I'm talking about WIN, or I'm mentioning WIN, I want to say shout out to a former PNC member who is still torn in between two loves, and he's still in love with the PNC. My good friend out there, Andrew Weeks. He is all full well with WIN, and we don't have a problem with that because we exercise democracy here. But he's all up in the PNC's business and in APNU's business and who should be leader and who shouldn't be leader. Andrew Weeks, concentrate on where you are. Direct the show there. Don't want to be. You can't be two places at the same time. But I know what's happening, and I did play that for him. Torn between two lovers, Andrew Weeks. And as we go on and go on and go on, same things, different days. Just yesterday, I had cause to be out there on the streets. But yes, of course, I know you're wondering. I'm on the streets. Yes, I'm out there a little bit. Because of my injury, you're not seeing me out there, but I was out there a little bit, and my gosh, I could tell you, I don't know how people live in this country, at least the ordinary Guyanese. I don't know how we live in this country. Every single thing in the market gone up 3 times from the last time we were in parliament to now. Every single thing in the market, the price has tripled. Some 4 times the price has gone up. And you expect ordinary people to live in this country. I don't know how we expect ordinary people to live in this country. I just don't know how we expect ordinary people. I know we're going to have MP Flu joining us in just a short while, but tell me, how is it that persons who are working for $85,000, how they're making out? They got to pay rent, they got to pay transportation, they got to eat, they got to wear, they got all the bills to pay. How these people making out? How these people making out? We got those who drawing $140,000. How people making out in this country? A little thing of Boroso. You seeing this? A little thing of Boroso, $1,000. If you have a family of 5, Well, look, I have MP Nima here with me, and MP Nima is gonna we're gonna talk about the cost of living in this country. A little bit of Boris. So MP Nima, $1,000. How people making out in this country if you have a family like you, MP Nima, how you making out? Huh? And good luck for MP Nima is that MP Flu is working. MP Flu's husband is working. She has a daughter and a son working. And so they're able to cushion the cost. But MP Nima, if we have a single parent, we just spoke about the teacher. We saw the teacher from Friendship that was kicked out of our house. How is she able to make out with her children and she's a single parent? Same things, different days, every time under the PPP. MP Nima Flu, welcome again to Same Things Different Days.
Good afternoon, and it's nice to be on the program. Indeed, same thing, different day. As a mother of five children, I have a very large family. We have 8 members in our household. What helps me is farming. We have a farm kitchen garden where we are able to sow some seeds. Currently, we got a okra. We have some shallot. We have fruit trees around which we use to help with the fruits. And we do vegetables, and also we purchase items from within our community from persons who plant things. If correct, got some borage yard and too much, we exchange, we pay correct for some, or we just exchange vegetables, barter system.
Mm-hmm.
Just this, it helped them to cut the cost of living, but I can tell you it's very difficult for families to cope with the high cost of living. I just saw a message that says gas is now 280. So this is going up. So you have to start looking at all of that and the effects it will have on families. But we have to keep working together and encouraging people. The old people say, joke it to see,
Mm-hmm.
plant a yellow, to plant some tomatoes and all these things. It will help to cut the cost if you go into the market because, like you said, the small bundle where I bought $2,000 borders only recently to cook for my household, and it wasn't even enough. You still have to put in a little makeup, You sometimes got add a little extra potato or a little thing for
I
stretch.
was just going to say that you got to add some potatoes there.
Yes, just to stretch it so that it can do, and so you find that happening a lot. And so for the average Guyanese, I know it's difficult. I even think about this with our 5 children. When you're a single parent and you have 5 children and they're young, the cost of pampers, the cost of milk, just to get the basics for that family to survive is difficult. And now, not having a home and, and now look at the weather, I could only imagine the difficulties that these people continue to face. But we have to find means and ways of coping because we know we have a government that only speaks and actually doesn't care. How many of them actually go to the market to purchase any item?
Yeah.
Um, to say that they can relate to the prices in the market. How many of them actually go and line up to get anything? They don't, so they can't relate. So if you're out there, you're going to do the shopping. Every week I shop because you gotta shop for your family, and every week you have to find a little more money or buy less to
Mm-hmm.
survive. And you're living on a budget. It's another difficult, and we know they don't get paid any day a month. You get paid one time a month, and you have to cope with it. Or if you're a person who gets paid daily, I'm quite sure the things that you would buy in one day that you purchased yesterday, you may not be able to buy today. So that's the reality of the high cost of living in Guyana. We
But
really have
em- but em- but MP Nima, we got some people who get them pay every day, and the pay that they getting every day is more than the salaries of 10 or 15 workers put together. Because when all them big contracts, they 10% from some of the contracts that some of these contractors got to give back to some people. Every day they getting pay. I'm hearing there are allegations of like gun license being sold. There are allegations of all kind of thing, paying monies to get tint. We can come to that part just now. But it just goes to show that every year you hear the PPP, this corrupt regime, this murderous regime, this thieving regime. Every day you hear them talk about how much we care about people. Look, they promised Guyanese people the cash grant since before elections. Then they tell you you'll get it for Christmas. Christmas come and gone. We're in the month of April, almost going to May, and still for persons to register for the cash grant is a big hassle with some people to register for the cash grant. Some people who don't have bank accounts is a whole lot of runaround. People are frustrated. I don't know why they always implementing all kinds of things to frustrate Guyanese people, and then they're putting it under the pretext of, oh, we want it to be transparent, we want to have transparency, but we know that there is no transparency with the cash grant. You go into the hinterland, you know how many phantom names on them list. You go to some other places, let them tell you how many phantom names on them list, and they're collecting big monies. And outside of the cash grant, we want them to tell us how much monies they spend in all to do this transaction, because when they go into the hinterland where in some areas there is no bank, they
Yeah.
got to spend money for accommodation, for charter plane, for go. Then they got to spend money to eat. Then they get in a little out of pocket. Everything is about the money making for these people. Every single thing is about the money making for them. And so you can't trust them with anything they say. And the minister with responsibility for finance would come out there to say, oh, we think about, we love Guyanese and we this and we that with his short self. And all they're doing, I think he does try to make up for his height with all the amount of monies that they're just trying to collect. He probably making up for his height with the money, so he could put the monies one after the other and on top of his head and stretch it to give him some height. But these people are scamps, and Guyanese must understand that. So I'm
Most
hoping that they
definitely,
go right
most
ahead. Go right.
definitely, Coretta. The yesterday I got about 6 or 7 calls, person calling to query about where exactly seniors have to go to register for this cash grant. And I'm saying, why is it that we're taking our seniors through the moral again? You have a list of persons collecting pension. Why are you
Mhm.
not using that list? You know the persons, how many pensioners you have. You identify areas, okay, persons within, if you're using alphabetical order or something like that with the name. When they go to collect the pension, you pay them the cash grant. Why they gotta go through this whole process of re-registering and all these things? And I'm saying you have the data there. Data is available, readily available for use. Why is it that we continue to make decisions that makes life so difficult for the seniors here in Guyana? Imagine with this when you gotta go out to register. We know the seniors when they hear about the little pitons, they can get a little money. They can try to ensure that they reach
Mhm.
very early to collect this money. But you have them leave home early and then persons in turn up on time and they're sitting there waiting. And then sometimes they
Hungry
turn up with a
and getting
venue.
bad feelings
Yeah,
are falling down.
we
But
need to do better. We need to show more respect for our seniors. I'm
but
disturbed by that.
you recognize this is a trump card for the PPP. I hear them talk about stories that Burnham used to have them line up for oil and this and that and the other. I wonder if it's Burnham got the people lining up till now, because every time you pass the post offices when it's time for pension, you see long lines there with the pensioners. They ain't even got a bench. They ain't even got a cooler with some water to give to the pensioners when they go there. Don't talk about NIS. Don't talk about NIS. Just the other day, we saw an ambulance picking up an elderly woman. I mean, these are little things. They got plenty money in this country. Look how much was this last budget. But yet, you can't put systems in place that would make our senior citizens comfortable. Those who are disabled to go and get the monies is another hassle. The people are already differently abled, and you're still putting hassling, putting systems that will give them a hassle. And then they talk about putting people first. Which set of people? It got to be the friends, the families, the favorites, and the flatterers. Got to be that group of people that you're making comfortable. And it's disgusting. It is disgusting. But let me say to our people, you still have an opportunity to right the wrong. You still have an opportunity. But MP Nemo, May is fast approaching. May 26th is a significant day for us. I see the PPP, they launched the Jubilee, celebrated, they launched the Jubilee plan and so on, so on, so on, so. Today, they're trying to figure out, what really they're doing. I've seen the our entertainers, some of our local entertainers bemoaning it that they have been left out, no consultation. Well, we know that's a thing with the PPP, a trump card for them. No consultation. They put together and they run out there. I mean, 60 is a big thing. 60 is a big number. We didn't get there by flying overnight. It was hard work and hard labor, sweat and tears for us to have gotten our independence. And now for you to take the independence, our 60th year, and carry the flag raising. Mind you, I'm not saying that we should not allow every grouping of Guyanese in every region or every district or wherever to have an experience. But come on, there's something called sense. And for 60, we should plan 60 where lots and lots and lots of Guyanese will have the opportunity to be part of this momentous occasion. But we've seen the plans gone to Fort Island. I think it's Fort Island they're going to. Your thoughts on that? Because I know we got a minister of sports, youth culture and sports, and we got an associate minister, an assistant minister, whatever you want to call him. Um, like the two of them didn't understand what they're about.
Well, like I said, I've expressed my dissatisfaction when I saw the program that was launched for Guyana's 60th independence. And the impression I get after listening to some of the presentation made is that Guyana just began. And so it's all about what is happening now. But for 60 years, you would expect a cultural program that brings a flair of what Guyana has been for 60 years in terms of our culture, our identity. Who are we as a people of Guyana? Who are Guyanese people? What is unique about being Guyanese compared to that of the world? And at 60, we ought to really bring out who we are as a people. But when you look at the program, I'm thinking, what is stinking dirty um, about Guyanese people? You have a boat cruise or something like that. How
But
does that
but MP Nima, let me ask you, how does stink and dirty relate? Well, I shouldn't ask that
impact
question
these?
because if you notice, under the PPP, everything is stink and dirty. The city stink and dirty. The country areas stink and dirty. Governance stink and dirty. The murder stink and dirty. The rape and sodomy stink and dirty. So I could understand why they're promoting stink and dirty. I could understand that. I could understand. But but is
I
that
you know,
when
I
Shelly
was
Jagan and LFS Burnham went there to meet with the Queen and when they were having all of these meetings and fighting for our independence, I can't remember reading anything about stink and dirty, but that is the people, the PPP, that stink and the dirty, their mind stink, them stink, everything about them stink and dirty. No wonder they're promoting stink and dirty.
I mean, it is so mind-boggling. I'm sure a simple thing. Guyana gained independence from um, the colony. Now you have the courtyard, the big courtyard where they have there now that is all a big thing for them, a big location on Parade Street. As part of Guyana's Jubilee, they should have had an exhibit there um, about Guyana from colonization to independence. They could have done an exhibit under that theme where people could have gone and see what was the monies used before independence, the symbols and all these different things, and you have an exhibition done there. And if possible, you have a show there to speak about these areas of our history, still part of our history. Then you have Guyana's independence when we gain our independence. You have the area like the national park that could be used to bring alive, you know, when Guyana gained independence, what changed. So you could have had a transition, the courtyard showing just before independence, what we use, the symbols and all of that. That persons could have gone over to the national park, and there you can view when we gained independence in 1960. As I speak, even my skin growing just talking about it because I'm so passionate about this culture and identity who we are as a Guyanese people. Have the national park display all these things that happen. Have another area you identify Guyanese persons who would have made significant contributions to the development of Guyana in the 60 years as an independent nation. Set up another area like that. So persons could have run and get a full. We should have had a picture, a visual picture from the exhibits and all that that will be ongoing to tell us about Guyana 60th. We have person in the creative industry that can bring
Mhm,
all of that alive. I'm
mhm.
looking at this program, I'm saying, you got a music festival, a night of music. You should have had all the years. Can every decade reflect the type of music and the singers and the artists that
Man,
we had during
look,
this time to bring in? And but we're not
it,
seeing that. What
it
we're
is
seeing,
it is simple,
it's
Nima. It
not.
is
It's
simple.
not.
They have no vision. It is simple. They have no vision because you and I know we have in our country, we have citizens who are in the music industry, citizens who are
Yes.
in the theater industry. We got citizens who doing poetry, acting, dance. We got them all over this country, everywhere. Stand-up comedians, all we got over the years. We got the Yoruba singers. Over 50 years, this band has been around. We got Charmin Blackman. We got Kwesi Ace. We got Jomo Primo. You got Adrian Dutchin. You got now coming. Now we got coming on the scene now. We got Calvin Burnett and the girl Tunisia, whatever is her name. And you got Tamika, Tamika Marshall. And so we have people to span those years. Why can't we not have a night of the legends and or nights of the legends and you do the different genre music? Why? But the PPP just stink and dirty because they don't want to recognize our people. They don't want to recognize, especially if you're not singing to their tune, they don't want to recognize you. In every single region of this country, we should have had two or three activities or four activities in every single region in this country because we got the monies. But you know what? They want to keep it to fill their pockets, to fill their own pockets. And you're going to see huge budgets for these events. And when you turn up there, water wash stories, stink and dirty, skin up your meeting, is them kind of foolishness. And that's what they like. That's what they like. Wicked set of people. And we got to call them out.
We most definitely have to call them out and hope that somebody in the good mind will sit down and look. We got the National Culture Center. We should have had a play taking place for our 60th and so forth. There's so much. Guyana got the human resources. We have the artists and everything in all these different areas that can bring Guyana alive in the arts at 60. At
Yes,
60, I've been encouraging persons, I think for the 60th, every Guyanese should fly the golden arrowhead on their homes. Put it out. You walk, drive to the street, you see the golden arrowhead. It's something simple, but it's also a form of being patriotic as Guyanese. Display our national symbols proudly. When you can be a part of saying passage to go somewhere, wherever event is, do your thing, do something significant. We have all these monuments that reminds us of our history. I'm looking, why is it that we have not seen them clean, painted, enhanced? All that should be ongoing for the
no,
60th, so people can actually visit and look at these things and you do a little cut. They're going to spend a little money, print some brochures to distribute for these monument sites and so forth, because it's a part of who we are. But
you
we're not
see,
seeing
but MP Nima Flu, you got to understand the 60th independence anniversary, if you were to roll back the years, it will remind them of what frightens them all the time. It will remind them of the man Lyndon Forbes, Samson Burnham, who up to this day, 40 years after his death, he is still scaring them. They're still afraid of him. So, like you were saying, all now we should have seen the National Cultural Center bright as a bulb. All now
that.
we should have seen Durban Park. As a government, it is not what the previous government did, you're not concerned about it. As a government, your job is to keep following on and building on what was there. But no, everything is about the PPP. So our children growing up a year, 2 years old, 3 years old, when they get to the age of 10, all they must know about is the PPP did this, the PPP did that, the PPP did that. And the PPP is the history of this country. Nonsense. They can get it right, as one of my colleagues would normally say. They can get it right.
Coretta, I got the program in front of me. Another thing that got me, you know, they got they can have this Guyana festival for 3 days wherever they be, and then they will have this street food on the terrace at Hayden Hotel, and I'm smiling to myself. We talk about street food. People think about going there Main Street, going by the hospital and buy a coke up, the nice Cali coke up and soda that lady to sell. I mean, if you talk about street food, I hope that they're having local businesses, people who's not only sell on the streets, probably going and sell all this food in front of Haven Hotel for people. I hope that's a concept because when you talk about street food, as we're thinking about where you could go pick up a good China, good Polori, somebody pushing a cart and selling the boys who sell this China and puri and these kinds of things,
Why why
So,
couldn't we
you know,
use parade ground and that stretch there on Michael Street? Why couldn't we use Coffee Square and we line off tents there and we have our street food or whatever food you're calling it? Why can't we find how many persons go when you go to the Aiden way? You got to do. I sure is buy. You got to buy the food because they ain't giving it away. How many persons would be able to afford that? Huh? I see the president always turning in curry, he cooking cook up rice. I mean, what the president could tell people about cooking cook up rice? It was never part of your culture. You must display what comes from. I mean, yes, we're all Guyanese and we should partake of each other's culture, but we must have our races on displayed and what our ancestors brought to this country that we are so good at doing. That's what we must have there as 60 years old. We are independent, 60 years old. But nah, nah. It's all about Charles Ramson and Vice President and Irfan Ali and Priya Manik Chan and Gail Teixeira and them all about them because they when we talk about 60 years, I was expecting that come for 60 years of celebration, we would pull the opposition parties in and have a consultation and let's plan what we are going to do and this is what how we are going to do things. But no, everything is about them. Wicked set of people. And I can't stop saying how wicked they are. Because look at this one, Nima. We're gonna move off from the 60th anniversary independence celebrations. Look at how wicked this government be. This government we saw in the last budget there, we saw this government having the Ministry of Health received $161.1 billion in the health budget. That fell under the health budget. But yet, we had a young man died, a little child died, a little 8-year-old died. At 20, is 22, I think she's 22 years old that died yesterday. We have another little child who is seeking funding for a serious medical issue. But the health ministry is very silent on these issues. Health ministry, you're not seeing them coming out. I mean, if what is it for the government of Guyana to come out and offer whether it's 7 million or 8 million or $9 million? Y'all just thief more than that. Why you can't give that to our citizens so that they can they can get better medical treatment? Because we're not offering it here. You're not offering it here, but we prefer our people to die. And many others died. Many others have died because they couldn't come up with these monies. Yes, persons gave here and gave there, but they couldn't come up with the total. So children and adults and who are Guyanese have died. But you know what? When they get sick, all of them flying out the country. All of them gone by their business when they get sick. The Georgetown Hospital that they talk so much about. As a matter of fact, we can show you just now what's happening at Madia. Is Madia
Yeah,
Hospital.
yeah.
Operator, I think operator has a clipping or a video of that. What is happening at the Madia Hospital? Just the other day, we saw um, MP Jordan showing us what is happening at the new hospital at Fort Wellington. There, flooding, rain just fall, and the walls like a strainer, the roof like a strainer. Why is it that this government who talks all the time, who talk about putting people first, are allowing our citizens to die? MP, I don't know how you feel about that.
You know, I felt extremely sad when I saw that post with the young lady that died, and then I recall the young boy. You know, it's very sad to know that we are the fastest growing economy in the
Uh-huh.
world,
Mhm, mhm.
and we just passed a $1.558 trillion budget,
Yep.
the largest budget ever. And yet still, we have to see people lose their lives without getting the much needed help to save them. And the question is why? Why is it that we cannot see the help needed in our health care for persons who need this help be given? And then, you know, even as we talk about health, I want to raise an issue that was brought to my attention today on same health. Remember, you had the Diagnostic Center on his back, where
Mhm.
persons would be visiting with the doctors and so forth. Now they have the new Diamond Hospital. Would you believe that the records, patients' records, apparently have not been transported from that old facility to the new facility? So when persons go for medical care, they don't have access to the record. They want somebody need a record and can't get it because
Mm.
the, the old building is locked up, nobody is there. So the question is, have they been using technology? Why is it that you have not transported these records as yet? And I know the Minister of Health will hear me. So I would hope that whatever steps have to be taken by the administration to ensure the people health record from the Diamond Diagnostic Center is transported to the new Diamond Hospital. That it is done because people have been patient in this facility, and if you have a change, then it means that you should consider having people personal record taken care of, and that brings a lot and bears a lot to our minds that these people actually doesn't care about what is happening. And so, like the two persons who lost their lives, we see again the don't care attitude that they receive, little to no support from the authorities. And so it results in family being very, very sad. I must extend condolences to the young lady's family
Yep.
again. Who would love
Mhm.
their life. Because as a parent, I could only imagine.
But I am hoping that the Minister of Health, the PS, and all of them there, that they're looking on that we have a little boy and they're not going to allow him to die. And you know, while we're talking about the neglect coming from the Ministry of Health, I'm seeing there our little forest boy. Our little forest boy got lemonade sale and he has raised millions and millions and millions of dollars he's raising for animals. Madam First Lady, if you're listening to us, could you at some point put aside some of those monies to help with human beings? We're raising funds for animals to ensure that they have safe homes and they're protected while they're at those shelters and so on. But could you raise some funds and put it in a corner for people like this young lady who lost her life, this little boy, the one before I think Marlon was his name. Could we raise some funding and could you raise some funds and put it in a corner so that families who can't afford can come to you and get some assistance from you? I mean, humans are much more. While we love our animals and animals, I'm a dog lover. And those who know me, if you count, you might not finish counting 25 dogs in the yard, 15 dogs in the yard. I'm a dog lover. You have other persons who love cats, and you have horses and rabbits and so on. And we got, well, I'm talking about that, and right away my mind flashed to the zoo. Just the other day, I saw a very, very disturbing story that's happening at the zoo. First lady asked they to talk to transfer some monies to the zoo because those responsible for the zoo, they're not doing anything there, because we got a water dog that we call a water dog, which is an otter. They're stifling green water. I mean, there's so many things that we can talk about. Maybe the zoo reminds them of LFS Burnham, or maybe because Burnham's remains are in the gardens there. It's frightening for them to go there and spend monies. It is disgusting. And I want the public to know that the PNC, that party, is the party that usually look after what happens around the mausoleum. We do that. We have to paint it up. We have to do stuff there because the government has refused to do anything there, and it is disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Persons who served in this country, LFS Burnham, none of them could put their foot in his shoes. None. Not even in the Caribbean. Not even further field. And to pay homage, it's a big issue. To paint up around there, it's a big issue. To maintain the grass around there at certain times, it's a big issue. And these actions must be condemned. The PPP cannot continue to be wicked, cannot continue to be vindictive, cannot continue to be discriminatory in this country. And then you go out there and you preach about one people and one Guyana and putting people first. When and where? It's absolutely disgusting. And we cannot continue like that. We have to talk about it. And Guyanese, I keep saying to you, too often you are being fooled by these people. It is the government's obligation to fix the roads. It is the government's obligation to fix the lights in your communities. It is the government's obligation to ensure that you have running water. It is the government's obligation to ensure that you get proper medical assistance. So it's not a favor they're doing you. It's not a favor. So when they come around to tell you, you see what we're doing, you see we're doing this, you see what, it is their obligation to do it. They all live big, fat, and comfortable off of our backs. And since they're living big and fat off of our backs, they should ensure that we can live comfortable too. But you know what? They're so bent in all the corruption. Same things, different days.
Different days. Exactly. Same thing, different days.
MP, we got all these robberies. I wonder if some of the guns that disappear from Cove and John, if they were parted. We had a robbery just the other day at Monrepose. I wonder if some of the guns from the place down there. Same Cove and John where the young man died in the lockups. Same Cove and John where they beat up the other young boy. Now 6 weapons gone with how much, 68 rounds or something like that. What we doing? What we doing there, MP Nemo? I noticed in Trinidad, an assistant commissioner was asked. He was sent on administrative leave, but I ain't see nobody down here. So I only see they got one sergeant on the close arrest. I mean, I hear the tint lady talk about all these cameras. They ain't got camera footage to show what happened there with the strong room and who went in and who didn't go in and what going on there. We ain't, oh, why these people are so silent on these things. And it's not the first time. We have always heard of policemen renting out the police guns, policemen renting out their boots. Tell us about what happened in 2000. You remember when we had the massacre on the East Coast there? When the folks said the men were dressed in military boots and clothing. Same things.
Same thing,
Different days.
different days.
Same things, different days. I remember there was a story that came out. I didn't even know about it before. With a barrel of marijuana or 2 barrels of marijuana. And then I see fancy picture with the girl and Anil. I see picture with she and Frank Anthony. I see picture with she and this one and that one. 1 barrel of marijuana. And there was nothing in the media about it. Absolute silence. These rascals must be stopped from doing the same things on different days. A man with a little spliff By the time you're holy, front page in the newspaper, his picture is 3 years. And we got a whole barrel of marijuana or 2 barrels of marijuana. And we are hearing fancy thing. And then the shame when it was made public, the shame. So the DPP jump out. DPP, don't worry with you. DPP, you gonna continue to do what you're doing until there is a different day for you to do different things. Because lots and lots of things that the DPP is supposed to pronounce on, DPP don't pronounce on it. Don't pronounce on it, even though the evidence is daring. And as we're speaking here, today is the eve of the death anniversary. It's today or the 24th. Well, 2 days or 2 days before the death anniversary of little Adriana Young. Now we're hearing that they're doing what they said they're gonna do, something they said they're gonna do. I mean, how much more of this can we continue to have? You got Joanne C. Douglas get shoot. You got this one get shoot. Or in Boston get shoot. That one get shoot. Allegations of rape and sodomy against Nigel Dharamlal. Allegations of rape against one who now serving as a minister where the 13-year-old girl drink poison and kill herself because the family couldn't do anything about it. Counselor Shanika, welcome to Same Things, Different Days. And we can talk to you because you got to tell me what happening at Cove and John with them guns will disappear. But let me continue. Every day, same things, different days. And you don't hear the DPP pronouncing on these issues. All you hear that the little girl, it is alleged that the little girl who came out with the allegations against Nigel, that she withdraw the statement. She didn't say so. She didn't say so. And the next one who came out, she didn't say so. So they can't charge. I mean, and all of these persons were minors. And you can't charge them. We got issues with the REO in Region 9 who shot his girlfriend. Where is the DPP on that? So many other issues. We got chocolate girl who sell chocolate and buy mansions and apartment buildings she put up and got how many SUVs. And we're not hearing anything about these. Nobody is sent on administrative leave, but I could understand what happening. Same things, different days because chocolate girl fronting for other people so they can't send her home. The same thing with the leader for Win. The same thing. All of them were in the same pot. All of them. All of them been in the same pot. But I wonder what happened to the commander for Region 1 and Auntie May. All of them, y'all remember all of them were sanctioned like the other sanction man. All of them were sanctioned, Shanika.
And
You know anything about
just said today that they're still sanctioned. The US haven't removed their sanctions, but we know that these people are still enjoying the confidence of the
yeah,
government in
yeah,
different. Her and the ambassador spoke to me and the assistant commissioner, I think he is, or whatever he is,
the commander. The man
department.
who was the commander. I mean,
So those matters still exist, but these are things that the show says same thing, different day, happening in different forms and shape.
mhm,
And what are we doing? What are we doing as a people? How do we deal with it? You're talking about the DPP conveniently make statements. I haven't heard much on the issue of the Coven John gun situation. We see that they're putting some police officer under some arrest. He's in charge of some books or whatever. But it's always my fear when I'm looking at these matters that somebody paying for somebody else, because I don't see how the man in charge of the station at his rank, how can all of these things happen without nobody else knowing? What are the SOPs in the police force? Every time you talk about the police force, you have to continue to talk about their SOPs, and there is always some shenanigans surrounding it. Nobody follows them anymore. What is it? What are we doing? Because
look,
the SOPs were being followed. First off, the length of time it took for this to be discovered would never be. We're talking about guns that people lodged more than a year ago.
mhm, mhm,
We
mhm.
don't have a clue when it went missing.
But the thing is, and you rightly said the SOPs, if you have a gun that has been lodged, is the gun supposed to remain there or it's supposed to be going somewhere else?
Correct.
Why do we still have it there? If you
I,
find people with counterfeit money, why you still got it there? So it
correct.
seems as if all these things is a business. Don't forget the cocaine that was changed to flour. Maybe I don't know if it's Peter, it's not Jesus passed through there. So it had to be Peter or maybe the great bishop or someone of them passed through and turned the cocaine into flour right at the station, you know. And then you have to wonder again when they have all these seizures of all these marijuana and cocaine, if when they go to destroy them, if all it is being destroyed. You got to wonder because when you see these nonsense happening, is this a set of crooks we're dealing with? I'm not saying that all the police officers are crook, but we
We
know
got,
that we know the ones. We know some of them.
mhm, mhm. We got good officers that want to do their job. You know, some of them talk to you in confidence. Some of them alert you to things. There are people out there who wants to do their job the right way and have things done. But of course, there are
Yes.
those who are in control, who are so accustomed to benefiting from corruption that they don't know any other way. And instead of you being complimented when you're doing your job correctly, you are demoted, demoralized, and not rewarded. We keep talking about this. The last time I was here, we talked about the fact that a lot of times when officers do the wrong, that's when they get promotion. For you to
Yes.
get promotion, you got to be involved in the wrong. And you punish officers who want to do their work the way it is supposed to be done. These are the issues that the force is facing. And this is the
Yes.
reality of why a lot of things are happening in our country and can be corrected no matter how much we call for investigations, because people are not allowed to do their job. Because again, we can talk about this situation when you have certain top officials coming out and stating what they presume is the matter without listening to what an investigation say, then you're telling the officer what you expect of them, and
Yep.
they better get it right.
Mm-hmm,
Yep.
And
mm-hmm,
what we saw that in the Adriana matter, we had no less than the president sitting down telling we all whims and Pharisees. And then, of course, when a report come, it ain't making no sense because
Give this
you don't
room.
know how to make up the miracle the president telling you. And there is where we have the problems. Since I'm a teenager looking on at problems and things that involve the government, one thing I know for sure, and that people see government that don't know for do investigation. Because they say if you could commit a crime, you're supposed to know how to cover it. I remember having a relative of my father killed. He was a police officer in Berbice, and they said that he shot himself twice. I don't know if commit suicide and get two gunshot wounds. Those are the kind of stories that they tell you
mm-hmm.
when they're
You
trying to
see,
cover up.
you didn't get it right, Shanika. It's two guns he used. He used two guns.
That
Two
too.
guns.
That too.
Two separate
Right?
guns. And
And
they
his
went out at the
family went
same time.
all out to get investigations done to counter what the government was saying. But how do they fight the government? You know, and these are the problems we have.
Don't forget, we had the bodyguard, is it the driver for Anil Nandilal, who they said he committed suicide, and we never heard anything. Where is the gun? What gun he used? Nothing, nothing. We don't know anything about that. So it's a
You
whole
want
is a whole lot of foolishness. I think we have Norris King there who's gonna join us too. So we're gonna bring him
Mr.
on because he
President,
can.
I want to remind you of something. I just wanted to make mention because I want to know if the public remember the things I remember. You know what is one of the famous stories that never came out my head that was told by the government and the police and everybody, and I still today want to answer. Where is Tanisha Morgan? I remember the story.
Well, you know what? You're bringing it on here, but I have it for another forum. But we're gonna talk about it. Where is she?
I
Where is she?
remember tales that we were told every morning you're waking up at this water side, and we were told that she was the reason for all the chaos and all the murders. I heard you talk about Louis and that's why I'm recalling this situation and all
Mhm.
these things that happened in Barticle. You know, he was so hard in love, he was so upset, and these were the reasons that this young lady went missing with this baby, this whole baby that she was pregnant.
Mm.
All of that ended. This man eventually died. We know nothing more. We never hear. We never even know if there was a Tanisha Morgan to this
Mm-mm.
day.
To this
I
day.
wish somebody could tell me if there was a Tanisha Morgan, or if there was, where is she today? Is she okay? Is that baby okay?
How old is the baby now? You know,
Well,
it,
I'm talking about a story that I'm sure is about 15 years or more. So that
mhm,
child has to
mhm,
be a very big child at this
mhm,
stage.
mhm, mhm, mhm. You
So,
know, it's just amazing, and I can use an ill word, and it's just vexatious that we have to listen to these kinds of foolishness. We had the Henry boys, Harry Singh, and so many others, and all we are hearing is no stones will be left unturned. No stones will be left unturned. Let me tell the all people. Good Friday, done come, it gone. We had Good Friday, Saturday, Easter Sunday, gone. Lazarus, his stone was removed. His stone was removed, and Lazarus was raised from the dead. I don't know. Maybe it's the goodly bishop that got to roll them stones because the president saying no stones will be left unturned. The stones are still lying there. So the goodly bishop better go and raise and move those stones so that
oh,
we can get
that grief.
so that we can get to the bottom of these issues to find out who really did to those boys what they did to them and so many others. Not only the two of them. Look, we got the famous black clothes boss, Leon Fraser. Huh? When they told us that Leon Fraser was shot somewhere on the highway by suicide site somewhere there. And the people said when the body turned up at Likens funeral parlor, not a
Okay,
drop of sand, not a drop of sand.
correct, correct.
I mean, what? Huh?
They tell
How
we
much?
man so well trained, pushy head in a vehicle, we think escapees won't get one bullet he head. Like
One
who
bullet
they
is it?
talking to?
Mhm. No, no. And the thing is, they want to give us the impression that it was Leon alone. Maybe
Mhm.
he went to do some kind of bartering or negotiating. Like, you remember when they called out Blackie London and then
Mm,
they shot him? Maybe
yeah,
Leon went to do that. He went to negotiate and he alone went there. He left his squad at some point and he alone went there. Maybe who knows? They said it's not good to talk ill of the dead. But what? Maybe he had a bag to collect and then the bag ended up being him in a bag, and they want to have you believe all these make-up stories that they're telling people. I mean, we big and we got sense. We believe in them nonsense. Not at all. We're not going to believe those kinds of nonsense that we're getting from these people. This wicked, vexatious government. We're not going to believe the nonsense that they're telling us. Too many times they're telling us foolishness. Oh, and this, oh, and that. And then persons die sudden and you're hearing a postmortem report saying something else. We tired of the nonsense. We don't want it anymore, and we're not going to accept it anymore. The foolishness got to stop. Then Shanika, oh,
wait, just one
we
sec. I got disrupted by a call. You just talk about calling out Blackie and Kelly, but you remember who killed Blackie? I don't think he would have go for do the same thing if he killed Blackie. His friends killed Blackie. That's how he was promoted. He turned big boy.
Mhm. But and,
Sorry.
and this is what you're seeing. Just the other day, we had another issue with the policeman who they say shot one of the boys in Linden, and he pulled out gun again, and he was saying that he gonna shoot. He was threatening a young man to shoot him. I mean, we're still trying to figure out what really transpired there and where is that investigation as we speak.
Correct.
I mean,
It's a
we had
lot.
we had Clifton Hickens with Linden. You remember the folks on the bridge?
Yes,
Clifton
correct.
Hickens. Clifton Hickens was promoted. He's now commissioned. He acted, and then when he retired, he was confirmed commissioner of police. Clifton Hickens, it's time you go home and give other young, intelligent police officers the scope to elevate themselves. Come on, Clifton. Even if the government want you to stay to do their dirty work, I'm sure you have a conscience. Come on, allow your conscience to be your guide. And while I'm talking about Clifton Hickens, I want to tell the fireman there, the fire chief. Oh man, you get 1, 2, 3, whatever, 4, 5 contracts, 1 year contract. Come on, go home and bow and sit down gracefully and rock in a rocking chair, or be some consultant. Give other young men the opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
elevate themselves in the position. You just sit down there occupying space, and all kind of madness happening. The fire engines combine, they turn up at the fire, no water. When they turn up and they got a little bit of water, plenty holes on the hose. Come on. Other people got better ideas. Allow them to function, allow them to move up the ranks. Somebody allowed you to move up the ranks. So you allow other people to move up the ranks, because under your stewardship is a lot of madness happen. Plenty firemen lost their lives and were injured. And y'all don't even pay their families no mind.
Mm-hmm.
So we can bow out gracefully. Clifton Hickens, bow out gracefully. Um, I know we got to the boy named Omar at the GDF down there. I'm gonna talk about Omar's story another time, because Omar went out,
Come and get
stay out,
promoted from
and then
everybody.
come in and gone right up to the top. You see, when we
Mm-hmm.
talk about friends, families, and favorites, and let me
Mm-hmm.
tell you, Shanika, and our viewing audience must know this too. But it shouldn't be strange to us. It's not only in the PPP we got friends, favorites, families, and flatterers. We got to take win too. But it
They
shouldn't
are
be strange to
very
us.
man.
Shanique, it shouldn't be strange, because here what happened. The leader of WIN came from the PPP, so that is embedded in his DNA. So in WIN, we got friends, families, favorites, and flatterers. And so WIN, just like the PPP, they don't, they don't, um, they're not mindful of experience. They like
Mm-hmm.
to push
Experience nothing.
anybody experience is not valuable to them. They're just like those of the Ministry of Education, Saddam Hussein and them, where
Mm-hmm.
experience is not valid any longer. So what Saddam they did there for the 2026, the criteria, one of the criteria for promotion is, they've changed where, as a trained teacher, you were entitled to 2 points for every year of trained service. What they've done now, they pull it down, and for every 5 years that you're trained, 1 point for promotion, 1 point. So they want now to bring up persons who are not experienced and put them over the experienced people. So it's a family thing, eh? Once you're a PPP, you're grouped into this thing. So experience doesn't matter. And so with all the issues, and these are issues that we have to talk about. We can't sideline this. We got to talk about it.
Quiet.
When talk about how much they care for the people, but by the time he was elected opposition leader, and I can tell you, everybody they're talking about Aubrey Norton this, Aubrey Norton don't do this, Aubrey Norton don't do that. What the opposition leader doing now? We doing jump out and he attack Susan because Susan got personal issues. Jump out, he attack Mustafa because Mustafa's son got issues. Jump out of it. But the people who he's supposed to be sharing the issues and sharing how they
Yeah,
acquire
that's
their wealth illegally, he ain't
part.
attacking them at all. So by
Mm-hmm.
the time he became leader of the opposition, the first thing he set out to do was to attack the three opposition commissioners. Whether you're right or you're wrong, there is a word called consultation. There
Correct.
is a word called succession planning. And you can't jump out and want to pull people out, and then you're asking the entity that you're pulling them from to give you guidance on how to do this and how to do. You're stupid if you're doing that. Very stupid, and I have no apologies for saying that. You see, as citizens, we must learn. What do I name? The opposition leader, he ain't interested in your well-being. He interested in saving himself. And I have to say it. He is interested in saving himself. Look how many atrocities would have happened to many citizens since he became the opposition leader. What did he do?
You
What
know,
has he done? Huh?
Dr. Dexter Todd, I believe, at our last press conference, put it over in a beautiful way, and he asked the question. Because when this party came in, we heard all the things they were going to do for the people. He became opposition leader. And a lot of the things that people chastise the PNC for,
Yes.
chastise
Mhm.
for, they have not been done to date by that party. But what we saw and we're seeing in all the time in the domain of social media is an attack on only certain sets of people, which
That's
include
true.
PNPR. And Dexter
Yes.
talked beautifully. He said if you actually cared about what was happening in GCOM, and that's what rests on my mind, I have never heard them call for Claudette to go. I
No,
never heard them organize a protest despite they said they want
no,
done and they're cheated out of the leadership and the presidency of this country. They have not organized one protest there, but the only protest that have ever been organized by them is the protest for
to go to the courts, to
to go
go
to
to
the
the court when he going to the court and when he would have been
court.
arrested. That's the only time you see protest actions.
But when it
That's the
comes
only time. Hmm?
your main and sole goal is to remove all of the opposition representation on GCOM that has
Yeah.
been there. The people who have been highlighting and fighting for years and years for the rights of the people of this country,
And
and the people
Shanika,
have victimized.
Shanika, Shanika, you need to add the same commissioners who helped them. The same commissioners who helped them.
Correct.
Because they don't know from hell to Bullfoot.
I want to talk about this. A lot of people, they say a lot of things. And this attack on Miss Carol, I'm not just talking about it because she is a member of our party. But you know what? Miss Carol became came into that position, and it wasn't just the leader of the opposition who had to agree. It was all the parties, the opposition parties at the time that had to agree. And she was the most qualified. But this woman has been fighting for the rights of people in our country from from a teenager all her life. That is what she has been doing. And
That
she
is
was
not important.
targeted and attacked. He's talking about this
That
extradition. She
that
is before the court for how many charges? Over more than 10 years, and she's been just dealing with it. Nobody went and protest nowhere for her, and she has kept keeping the fire to the feet of the PPP at GCOM there. And that
mhm.
is the person you want to come and attack.
Well,
You haven't had a conversation. You
my
don't know
Shanika,
you're tired and to
Shanika,
want to go.
Shanika, you're missing the boss. It's friends, families, favorites, and flatters. It transfer. It transfer because it's who you put in. The PM designate candidate, the candidate who was designated PM, is her husband. That's the person you put in there. That's
Mhm.
the person you put in there. And I don't forget when that same individual was named in the coalition as the Minister of Public Service. What did she do? Fire a set of the senior staff there. And
Who
her
have been
husband,
working in the public sector for a long time,
man,
professionals,
man, you can't tell me.
part of our
Huh?
problem.
You can't tell me. Huh? And the same husband was part and parcel of taking away ensuring that they clear their desk and so on. It's a set of confused people who are power drunk. They're not about the people. But you know what's the
Correct.
thing here? Here was the thing here, man. The thing here is you no longer have a job or jobs. So now that you are a member of parliament, money's got to mix. So we got pulling the other half. We want the other half stay home and watch children or stay home and do this or stay home and do the we money's got mix. So you're jumping anywhere. They have no integrity whatsoever. None. None.
Mhm.
And I know they will want to come after me, but you come, I'm ready for you. When you're
Let
all
me
ready to come, I'm ready.
let me bring
Because
another one that the public doesn't know about yet, MP. Now, they didn't only write a letter and talk about Miss Carol, and they haven't only been attacking I have ventilated the issue of what happened at the region in terms of the committees. Now, last month, they went ahead to write the chairman to say to him that he must disband the committees because they're not on the committee. Now, this is my thing. As a political party who
Hold on, hold on, hold on, Shanika, hold on, hold on. So we have to write Region 6 and Region 5 to
no
ask them to disband those committees because we are not on them either. We got to
but
write them too.
make, right? You're doing that. You wrote, which is, it is not under the law or anything. There is no basis for the committees to be dismissed. That's first off. You're just making noise.
They don't know.
Now, even if you wanted to come to the council with something like that, how do you expect to have the force or the power to even further that discussion without not talking to the other opposition members?
But
They
Shanika,
refuse to consultate, and that is why they're
Shanika,
on board right now
Shanika,
and pushing.
Shanika, the public must know and we must continue to repeat it. They refuse to vote. So when you refuse to vote, you count yourself out. So when you get a no committee, you cause that. You refuse to vote.
But
Huh?
understand, as the lead counselor for the APNU, I put that behind my back. I decided we need to work together because we have the one seat majority. If we work together, I
Well,
engaged them, and
they're
we
not
went
interested in that.
face to face, and then they refused. They stopped talking. I
They're
told
not interested in working together. They're power drunk. They're power drunk. They drive too much. Let me say it. They drive too much Lamborghini across this country that they feel they own everything. That do so much, they feel they own everything, so they come with that kind of attitude everywhere. But let me tell them, when you're big, you must have sense, and they're big and they have no sense whatsoever. You refuse to vote, so how you expect to be on committees? You refuse to vote, so it means that you don't have the people in Region 4's interest at heart. So why are you complaining now? And then you want to jump to talk about, oh, the APNU and the PPP working together to sideline you and to keep you out. What did you do in Region 5? What did you do in Region 6 against the APNU? Huh? And you talk about, oh, what we did in Region 8. What did you do? What did you do in Region 7? Give us a break. Please win. Pass. Pass. Give us a break.
yeah,
Concentrate on the bigger things that are in front of you. Imagine no call for Claudette Singh to resign, no clean voters list, no biometrics, but you want to remove Vincent and
Miss
Charles Corbin and was the other guy name? I can't even remember the other guy name.
Des-
Trotman.
Trot.
Trotman. Desmond
Desmond.
Trotman. You want to remove the three of them when you couldn't get your way there. And this the public must know this boy behaving like them little child, as according to Anil. Anil says a little child trapped in a big man body. Behave like a little child. When you can't get your way one side, you jump to another side. So you jump to Carol now, Carol Smith Joseph. You jump there now. But I want you to understand, when you high and mighty, you just fall down hard and you fall in. You fall in,
If
and it's
it's
only a matter of time. And so while I'm on that again, let me say hi and good afternoon to Andrew Weeks, who is torn between two loves or torn between two lovers. Because he would win and he always talking about the APNU and the PNC and that's all this conversation. What should be happening there and what Andrew Weeks stay with win. You start you drifting all the time. And let me say to you, any person who jumping from party to party to party, watch them. Anybody who jumping from party to party to party, you call them grasshoppers, you call them frogs. What they do is jump somewhere because they think that the grass is greener there. And you check Win Party. Almost all of them from the Win Party jump from one party to another to another. You check them and let them come. I'm ready for them. I will continue, and I'm proud to say it. I will continue to be a member of the PNCR. I ain't have nowhere to go. They got no amount of monies that can say Coretta come, we gonna buy you. They ain't got no amount of talks that can move Coretta from where she is, because you know what? I stand on principles.
Prince.
The PPP have none.
Mm-hmm.
Any organization that is anti-PPP, they want to kill you. They do everything in their power. And as I speak, I want to talk, and it brings me to the issue with the Guyana Teachers Union. The High Court ruled, the appeals court ruled when they went to the appeals court, and up to today, they can't reinstate the deduction of the Jews. Anil, that's why the judge had to tell you, we tell you yesterday, you know too much. Them law books that you were supposed to read, maybe you boil it and you drink the water, but it's not that you were supposed to do. These people are wicked. The same thing they did with the GPSU, the same thing they did with the Bauxite Workers Union. All they're doing is concentrating on GAU and the FITAG arm, and those unions that fall, NASI and them that fall on the FITAG, those are the unions that they're promoting. And you'd want to tell me that you're putting people first? Where? They're stifling the teachers because the teachers came out and protest against them. In 2018, when we took industrial action, they supported it because Priya was putting up on our Facebook page all the time, encouraging teachers to come out and support their union and to stand up against the government. And when the same teachers turn back and stand up
Now it's
against
getting
Priya
good.
and her government, she got a problem with it. And you want to stifle people, citizens and viewers and everybody watching. I want you to understand, a leopard doesn't change its spots. So the PTP will never be nice to you. Never be nice to you. You know how many hundreds of young men lost their lives, and how many are still accounted for? How many you hadn't the chance to identify them? You know how many of them lost their lives? Huh? And you're running behind these
You
people?
know, I tell people, right, when Glenn Lal was carrying on his mission, oh, the PPP is bad, and oh, he was paying people to go out and protest, I said to them one thing, and I hold the same view about the Win Party. When his workers were murdered, he would have been said to know who would have sponsored it. And not one day did he come out and call for the proper investigation and for
Nope,
his workers to
nope.
get the justice that they deserve. And I said to them then, until he opens his mouth and talks about that, I don't care. Nothing else that comes out of his mouth. Likewise, Ajudin Mohammed, who was with the PPP all his years, they know nothing, nothing, nothing. Let her come and
We
tell me about those
we
things.
we saw
I
we
want to
saw the
know where the people
we
turn
saw the
and
20
bury.
mil we saw the $20 million check. Come out and tell us who killed Courtney Crummy Wing. We want to know. Come and tell us. We want
Let
to
us
know
talk about those
who
things, and
killed
then I can
Azadi,
engage.
who killed Adriana Young. We want to know why up to a day like today we never heard a word from Azardine on the Mucka issue when they bulldozed those people's place on Caneview Avenue. Why up to a day like today zip from Azardine? Why? Because he was part and parcel of it. The $20 million check, you remember the $20 million check? Azardine was part and parcel of everything that went on during the 2020 elections. You remember was his vehicle was being used? Huh? And his
Hello,
men
Sam.
were
Let me
being
tell.
used.
Correct. Let me tell the public this story. I never talk yet. But it is in the public domain, but it was not brought up of recent. I sit sometimes and I listen to the hypocrisy. The eve of election 2020, I received a call while on the East Coast that there was some skullduggery happening at the school in Albertown. And I, Shanika, went with my vehicle down to that
Yep.
place, only
Mhm.
to find Ashdeen and his crew
St.
attempting
Ambrose
to collect
Primary.
ballot boxes that
St.
they were not
Ambrose
supposed to
Primary.
collect. Correct.
St.
And I
Ambrose
was the one
Primary.
who went live and demanded when his father came with his many vehicles and bodyguards to remove them. I said, they're not going anywhere unless they're going in a police vehicle. And I went live and I
St.
behaved bad.
St. Ambrose Primary was the
Seven
school.
of them were taken into the Alberton police station. I have all the footage still. Seven of them. And
And
that matter
nothing.
was dropped after the government changed. But let me say this, when that happened, I was followed for 3 days until my key disappeared and I had to change my whole lock on my door because I wasn't going to take it lightly. And it was only then one of their vehicles stopped following me. So Ajidine, mommy, and the crew can't bluff me. They can't
So
bluff me
and
no day.
so now, so now
I
you
got the
come to
evidence.
you come now to play Saint Peter and talk about political victimization and political victimization because you decide to run for office. Political what? Look, get from here. Get from here. Don't come to tell us foolishness. But we got to talk about this tint lady. This lady that's so busy with tint and got all these police on the streets with tint and tint and tint and tint. I wonder if his tint caused her son to plunge in the trench so with the government
Mm-hmm.
vehicle. And I hear it nothing from you, not a word, not a statement from the police. But you see, it's correct to McDonald's vehicle, they plunge in the trench. She would have had to do
Mm-hmm.
breathalyzer test. Her vehicle would have had to remain there. Then the police got to come. They could take 46,000 pictures. Then they could carry her to the station. Then she'd be charged. But I ain't hearing nothing. Clifton Hickens, where are you?
Mm-hmm.
Commander A Division, where are you? Mr. Watts, where are you? Um, Traffic chief, where are you? Why you all so dumb and silent on these matters? Huh? And you know, when the policemen crash the vehicles and tell you that the policemen got to repair the vehicles, I wonder if Minister Onage Waldron repairing the government vehicle that my taxpayers dollar had to put there to buy it. I wonder. Huh? You see, these people again, same thing, different days. And then the boy is so compulsory and said, Mommy told me to stay at home, but I disobeyed. In the government vehicle, what is he doing to driving the government vehicle? He's not employed. Is he employed there? We're getting a
And the
feedback from
president
somewhere, I don't
has
know.
the nerve to go and say that the minister never intervened. Man, it's who they think we talking to. He talking
Shanika,
to.
Shanika, would the minister got to pick up a phone and call anybody? Since you
Well,
hear
they
his
know
own
it, sister.
Squadron son, since you hear
Who
his own
talking it?
Squadron son, who picking up the who? Oh man, oh man. Why? It's the same thing. You remember when the president told us that the minister of whose tourism now the minister explained to him where she got her wealth from and he believed her. But he got to say those
Mm-hmm.
things because these are the people who fronted for him. And I'm hearing some rumors that these are the people who will stand up in cabinet meeting for him because they got fraction within them. One for one, this one for presidential candidate, that other fraction got somebody else for president. So it's Priya, I hear it running for president. Jagdia one Priya for presidential candidate. So I hear it, I said it. And Efron one Susan. I don't know if Susan is uncle, auntie, uncle, aunt, whatever Susan, but it's Susan the key one for presidential candidate. And so that is why they got to cover up. They got to cover up for each other. But it's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very disgusting. And we got to speak about it. We have to talk about it. Why is it? Why is it that you're saying that the minister has not intervened? Why you're saying that the minister did not intervene? Nonsense. Nonsense. Huh? Nonsense that the minister did not intervene. The minister ain't got to say nothing. And she has no moral authority to tell anybody else across this country anything. Nothing she can't tell nobody else across this country because in the first place, when Onage became a minister, she lied. She lied. She had to be sworn in twice. That's the kind of deceptive and deceitful people we playing with across this country. She ain't got no authority to tell anybody anything. Then her son, accident again, where a woman died when the vehicle ran into a minibus. The woman died. And now accident again. I wondering if it's a tint. I am wondering if it's the tint caused this accident because this big thing on tint and tint and tint and tint and tint. They don't want tint on the vehicle of a certain percentage. It must be this and it must be that. And y'all got y'all friends, family, your children, your grandchildren, mother-in-law, all of them driving wrong in dark, dark tint. What go for one must go for all. If you don't want a certain percentage of tint on the ordinary Guyanese vehicle, you must lead by showing the example. You don't around here and tell us,
Correct.
oh, you got exemptions and why we must have exemptions if y'all are the government for all? Why you having exemptions? But don't worry,
And she said, don't
government.
call she what goes to one, goes to all, but your vehicle still everything.
I tell
And
you,
not even
I
the one that was permitted by law.
I am able with these people. But Minister Onage Waldron, you're too silent. And I am going to make the call here. You should step down, Minister Onage Waldron. You should step down because you talking about speeding and driving. You talking about heavily tinted vehicles and your son speeding and driving. That's how we ended up in the trench. Your son driving a heavily
Mhm.
tinted vehicle. Let me share with you all. The late Rashby Jackson, when his son was involved in a matter where they said he was found with marijuana, you know what he did as minister? He sent in his resignation. Nobody had to ask him. He submitted his resignation. All the allegations against Mustafa, no resignation. Mustafa come out to tell you he work all the days of his life as an honest man and hard, and this, that. And all the time then he didn't build in, but now he building, maybe the money grow. So he building now. Susan, no investigation. She wasn't asked to go and leave. Dharamlal was forced to go to resign because every day we were out there. Maybe we have to start hitting the streets again. But I don't want to take the initiative to hit the streets. We have an opposition leader. He must take the initiative to go out there and bring out his supporters and go out there and protest and ask that Onage and Susan and Mustafa that they resign. He must go out there and do it, but no, he can go out there and do it. He got sweet skin, he can go out there and do it. But let me tell you, as opposition leader, you got to step up to the plate. Stepping up, it means that you're going to want resignations of people and you're writing dismissal letter for people. Must go out there. That's what you're supposed to go out there and do. And he jump up, son, he jump up, son, he jump up. So operator, I don't know if you have the that video to show with Madia Hospital. I don't know what is happening in this country. I don't know. I guess some of them patients, if it ain't happened yet, some of them can drown right there. Because when you see the amount of water at Madia Hospital, you want to know what is happening. Operator, if you have that vehicle, if you have that video, sorry, could you play it for us? I don't know if you have that video. If you have that video played for us. Yes, this is the Madia Hospital. Madia Hospital flooded. Flooded. We don't know what is causing the flood. But imagine this is the hospital and the hospital flood. Then you could imagine what's going on at the schools. What's going on in some of the residents' home. And then we have the Shanika. Operator, thanks. Shanika, we got a set of deportees came into the country already.
Yeah, I saw
12
that
of them.
today.
12 of them are
And two
here.
are remained in custody.
10 were released into the custody of their families, and 2 remained. Now, this is what is going to be happening in our society again. We are going to have to accept, we are going to be forced to accept, and I'm sure part of the reason why those 2 were not released is because they know nobody. They probably left here very small, so they know nobody. They ain't got no, it's disgusting what we have to accept after persons have gone all over, spend all their life in different countries, do all kinds of things, and then they have to return here, and then they're gonna be living off of somebody. Next thing you know, they end up breaking somebody's house. They pull our little boys and lead them into a life of criminality. I mean, it's crazy. I hope the police gonna be monitoring these deportees. I hope they're going to be monitoring them not for 2 days and 2 weeks and 3 weeks. Ensure that they report to you for a prolonged period and you monitor them, drive around where they're living and monitor them and make sure that they are living clean lives. But knowing the PPP, you expect anything from them. Now, I saw there coming from DC Fox. That's a school, DC Fox Secondary School. And they have boarding there where they have dorms and they have an administrator and so on. I see in the bed that the people got to sleep on. If you see the condition of the mattresses, if you see the bed, If you see the supervisor sleeping on the floor, supervisor sleeping, bat infestation, and teachers have spoken about these things already. Bat infested, the classrooms are bat infested, the dorm is bat infested, and all these people could do is deny what is happening. Operator, could you throw up those pictures and let the public see the beds that the children got to sleep on? Look at these beds that the children sleeping on. These mattresses belong to the children. These same mattresses belong to the children. They're sleeping on the floor. Look, the children's bed. Show us where the administrator is sleeping and show us the bat infestation, bat down by the sink. This and we got a 1.5 something trillion dollars budget, and this is what our people got to go through. Operator, could you show us the sink? Yes, and maybe you could probably pull it up a little so our people can see what is happening there. Look at the sink, bat down. Morning, you wake up, that's what they're faced with. You go to bed at nights, you clean it, and when you wake up in the morning, this is what you see. And then we got the supervisor sleeping on the floor. That's the supervisor's bed. I know, what's his name? The selected chief education officer, they're going to come out with some big, bold statements. But don't come up with statements and fool us. The people in there are the ones who sending these things out. So don't come with big, bold statements to fool us. We don't believe, because we know for sure that it's happening. Yesterday, I saw at some school in they said at one time they said it was Amelia's ward, and then another time they said it was the Bamia Primary School, where the children were sitting on the floor, and it was a fact. But you know what? They like to
And
jump
those
out
are
there with,
common children, according to the reports.
they
Children who are
like to
between.
they like to jump out there to show you that it is not so, and people are trying to create mischief. It is not so. It is not so. They like to come out to tell you that, but we don't believe the things that they say, because it's the same things, different days. Shinika, we are in the rainy season. Rainy season. We gonna have more floods because it's May, June coming. We gonna have more floods. I wonder what systems are they going to put in place before the rain start falling? Because these people don't think, they just jump up. So something happened, they jump up. So they're gone ready to fix it. I'm hoping that systems are being put in place. Mustafa, I hope you got systems in place for the rice farmers. The other day, I see some rice farmers from Blackbush Polder cuss into hell and go. I can't play that recording on this program. Cuss into hell and go talking about how the rice, and y'all like to jump out with statements to say it is not true. It is not so. I know the rice farmers talk about how much they have to spend in the drugs that they got to buy, and then when they go to the rice mill, what's the cost that they pay, that they get in, the monies they get in for a bag of paddy. Y'all fix these people business right. Fix these people business right. But Shanika, this is the month of April.
Yeah.
Diwali passed the other day, but I'm still experiencing blackout. Early in the morning, blackout during the day. I'm wondering if is Christmas in April?
I have seen GPL recently put out a statement this morning, because persons, particularly on the East Coast, were complaining that over last evening into this morning period, lights were on and off like fairy lights all night. There is your statement there, but like you say, same thing, different days. You hear from one excuse to the next. I am waiting to see. We know that there is so much implementation being done in terms of GPL, all these new what they're calling them. I can't remember the correct names, but these new poles that they're bringing all the way from the East Bank. And we're being told, once this system is set up, one, we will generate more power. Two, we'll be able to use all of the power coming from the ship.
Okay,
And we
okay.
should not have blackouts. But it seems like when you hear these things, all you hear in the background is that. So bear with Rena. You're forever hearing bear with Vina. You can
Mhm.
got take it now, and that's what we've been doing as a
And
citizens of this country for the
we
longest
don't
while.
want
We've
we
been
don't
taking it.
only we don't only hear that, we hear and the government doing so much for you. So we're fretting, but if you get a little blackout, the government doing so much already. Look how much things they're doing.
No, I'm looking at some stuff that are popping up in a different forum, and people are saying, "Oh, we're walking and doing outreaches on the wonderfully paved roads and development that the country is seeing, and we're pretending that we're not seeing it." But it bothers me sometimes, and in fact, it doesn't to some extent because I understand where some of those comments are coming from. But I always beg to ask people, one, what is the purpose of a government? What is the purpose of a government if the country is not getting development? Roads are the least parts of the things that a government is supposed to do. That's supposed to be like this. And the problem is not that the government not building roads. I could tell you this since I'm a little girl. You know how I used to know that an election about to happen? This is not now. Since I was 6, 7, I know when an election coming, your road paved, lovely, just before the election, because
And
they
it,
come and tell you, oh, we do your road.
and it lasts 3 months.
Same thing. And I'm saying now, we are spending so much money, develop the road, create the infrastructure that allows us to find other ways around the town. But it must be worth our money. It must be done properly. We must not be wasting the same money over and over. Because let me ask them this. If they are to spend the money that they have home, they got $100,000 with the government just give them, and it is supposed to build a cupboard for them to store food, for instance. And they just build a cupboard to store the food with $100,000. 2 months down the line, broke up. They ain't got no cupboard. They want to go and spend another 100,000, and you're gonna be spending how many 100,000 over a 5 year period, building the same thing over and over. That is what tells you about the efficiency of a government and whether they're doing what they're doing properly. And that is what we're speaking about. We're not speaking and bashing infrastructure and whether the government is building roads. That is their job. I'm not going to praise any minister for building no road.
I,
I will
I said
praise
that
no
earlier.
water going in a community. I will praise no minister for electricity. That is what they have to do. That is
Mhm.
what they're elected to do. That is their role. They are being paid. Just like when you go to work and work for money, if you don't do what the boss said, the boss got right to fire you. The boss got right to call you in a meeting and deal with you because he is paying you to do a job as a citizen of this country. That is exactly what I'm doing. I've elected, whether I elect you or not, because it is a majority case, you are there and you're being paid by taxpayers' dollars to ensure that the resources of a country take care of all of the people in the country in an efficient manner. And I don't need to praise you for that, but you need to get it right. And I have the right to call you out when you are doing it incorrectly. It is my right to do so. Because you're not just doing for me. I gotta look for my children and my children in a generation. We're living in a country. We living in your backyard. We are
And,
living in a country.
and,
We are
and
living
so
in a state.
while you're doing, you are creating generational wealth. You are
For
creating
you know, but
generational
let me
wealth.
know.
So we have to be able to get the things must be done right, and the government, we will call you out, Mr. Opposition Leader, we will call you out too. I mean, I already sit down in my corner, I'm content. I sit down in my corner because I done here already. AP, and you ain't got no money, so you got the money, Opposition Leader. Put it out there. Help the people. The people at Friendship suffering. Help them. You got money. It was said that you got monies. Huh?
Mhm.
Plus, you got land. Plenty, plenty land you got all over this country. Come on, donate a plot of the land that you got so that little teacher girl, um, I don't want to call her name. That little teacher girl who got the 5 children there, the 4 children who, imagine, the miss wasn't at home, her children were in the house, and the police put those children out of the house and break that property down. Mr. Opposition Leader, what part you there? Where are you when people are suffering in this country? But I understand. I understand the game you're playing, and I know for sure that quite a lot of Guyanese across this country, they understand the game you played, and you're gonna get an opportunity to play it again. They
Mhm.
understand the game you play. You played it well, and we know that your aim and your entire objective is to destroy the PNC. But let me tell you, 62, 63 don't come just so. Ask yourself, ask your father, ask your mother, ask your other relatives. It don't come overnight. And so the PNC is a solid party. It's a solid organization. When you look at trees, you look at the mango tree. The mango tree that shed leaves. The blossom does fall down, but what? The mango tree that still continues standing. So the PNC is an organization that will continue to stand strong. The mighty PNC will continue to stand strong. And you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. I want to say that to you, and I want to say that to the PPP too. Anil, I figured now you probably got a gagard right now. You can't talk. You make yourself a comic yesterday. You can't talk. Next time, Anil, put Priya Priya's an attorney, Sonia's an attorney, put them there. All them millions and hundreds of millions of US dollars that y'all spending on all these attorneys that y'all 16 attorneys I hear at one time y'all had. I don't know, as I the people says so, so I repeated it because I don't have the time to run behind y'all and Azardine and Ifad and the extradition business and so on. I don't have the time. What I know is that when you do the crime, you got to do the time. I know that. And I will say that if they do the crime, then they got to do the time. And the US government will not come after anybody if they did not do wrong against the US. So, bye, 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 happiness, something like that. This when that time come, I will say bye bye. Have a good time. Wrong things don't go unpaid. And all those mothers who have been crying over the years, some of them are going to get their satisfaction now because y'all help to finance phantom squads and all these things. All of y'all been in the same business. All of y'all. Every day you got up, it's an execution style murder. Body find here, body find so two bodies find so somebody find in a car. Up to day like today, Monica Reese, we can't know is who killed Monica Reese, but a time will come and we will know. And it's not that y'all don't know. Y'all know who killed Monica Reese. But the time will come. That's why some of y'all are so unhappy.
Mhm.
Shamika, we're going to take your closing remarks and then we have to say bye-bye from same things, different days.
You know, same thing I say every time when we're finished with these discussions, because this is what I want the public to understand. The only way we will see real change, the only way we will see betterment and the delivery of goods that we're talking about every time is when you, the people, all of the people, stand together and say enough is enough. That is when we will see what is needed. I want to also make this quick comment because I said I am view as we talk here, there are some comments popping up from another forum that I keep seeing, and I know it's the PPP surrogates that they pay to talk the trash. But I want to even tell them as they're speaking, the one thing that cannot anybody nobody can say about the PNC in terms of its record when it comes to infrastructure is that we provided poor infrastructure at any given time. I will take you to the Harbor Bridge that served decades after it should have been completed. I'll take you to the Linden Suze Dyke Highway, which served even more decades when it was completed. And to remind people that every major road network that this country has seen was built by the People's National Congress reform. This is not a bunch of people that don't know what they're talking about. When you talk about roads being built to Berbice, it was the People's National Congress reform who did that. Linden, the People's National Congress reform. The Rupert Craig Highway, it was the People's National Congress reform who built a foundation that lasted decades, that we
The
didn't have
quarantine
to see the
highway,
repairs that
the
you're
quarantine
seeing now.
highway.
And it was us who did it. And when you talk about housing, we didn't have a housing problem under the Deportee government.
I notice I GPL again, but let me continue from where Shanika left off. You see the PPP running all over the place. Oh, we're putting up housing schemes here. We're putting up housing schemes there. We're putting up housing schemes. What happened? Y'all forget Roxanne Barnum? Huh? They forget Roxanne Barnum housing scheme. They forget Shirley Field Ridley housing scheme. They forget North Rumvelt housing scheme. They forget South Rumvelt Gardens and the entire housing scheme that is built there. Have you forgotten Tocqueville? East the Penitence, North East the Penitence, West Rumvelt, La Penitence. Y'all forget all these areas, and these are just some areas in Georgetown. When we talk about what happened in Linden, you forget Melanie? Huh? So don't come and tell us now that you building housing schemes and you building this and you building that. And Shanika will tell you more housing schemes that were built under the People's National Congress, and they are still standing up to today.
Up to
Unlike
today,
those that y'all put up, people
you
didn't even occupy them yet, and they crack.
you are talking, you named the ones in Georgetown. We're talking about South Viceless. We're talking about Melanie Damashana. You're talking about schemes in Berbice. You're talking about schemes in Linden. We haven't called out the Amelia's Ward area, all those places schemes that were built on the Burnham. And it wasn't where we just did houses, like how they show people, they give people land and put them in a swamp. There was
Mhm.
infrastructure created in those areas when people were going there. And even when we returned to government in 2015, they said we slow up the land process, although we were dealing with land from since 1999. People still waiting for land, and they were there for 23 years. But when we
Mhm.
provided those housing, we brought it all the way to 2011, and we didn't put people in swamps. We put them in areas where there was infrastructure, there was road, there was light, and there was water. So they didn't have to wait 10 years before they could decide whether they're going to build in the area. You know how much people got land and they can't build today like today? Because the PPP provide them with a paper that says they have land, but really they have a swamp yard that they cannot
Mhm.
build in. So I
Yep.
just want to remind us of those things. So when we sit and we speak and we talk about the issues and we bring them up, it is because we know what better looks like. It's because we have a plan for better. And it is because we know what the people of Guyana deserve. And we're only highlighting and hoping that we will get to the place that we need to be.
I just want to close by saying anything that is fake will not last.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that is fake will not last because you can't pretend all the time. Why you think when women go out, when women are going out, they would put on their powder, their foundation, and their eyeliner and so on. They put it on. And when they get home after whatever activity they went out there for, they have to take it off. So fake can't last for long. We talk about infrastructure, we talk about housing. Let me tell you about, remind you about the Demerara Harbor Bridge. It outlived its time, but was still going. I'm
Mm-hmm.
waiting to see. I'm waiting for the Berbice Bridge and the Demerara Harbor Bridge there.
Yeah, we gotta wait and see.
That floating bridge outlived its time and was still going. And that was the brainchild of LFS Burnham. So y'all don't come around here to tell people all kind of foolishness. And that is why mothers and fathers and grandmothers and aunts, you have to educate your young people. They must know because most of them have been born between that Barajagio stretch. So you have to educate them because what this wicked PPP government seems to be doing all the time is erasing our history and only writing what they would have done. But they don't write everything that they would have done because it is under the PPP government that we have ever had the most extrajudicial killing. Under the PPP government, we find the most drugs. All over Guyana has been blacklisted and placed across this world in a black way. But I will stop there for now. And I just want to, as I close, I want to encourage you to be good Guyanese citizens. Look at what is happening and make the right decision. And I just want somebody to send out hi to Auntie Mia Mortley. I don't see her and her little brother too chummy chummy these days, and I'm wondering what is happening. But I guess Auntie Mia got, she's seeing the writing on the wall. But folks, do have a wonderful day. We'll see you next week for more of same things, different days. Take care. Be careful on the road. Remember, we love you. We're a blessed nation. Bye bye.